Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're heading to college basketball action on Saturday, and we've got a big one in the ACC. We got Florida State. They travel to play North Carolina. Guys, if we had our buddy Matt Holt here for this one from CG Technologies, he has been riding the Florida State Seminoles all year long. He's taking them every game just about, and he's got a ton of future bets on them, and he's got several 100-to-1 future tickets in his pocket, and he's loving what he's seeing out of the Seminoles right now. But now they got to go on the road after a monster win at home. I'll start with you, Preston. Florida State, they are for real, but how do they avoid the letdown here?
Yeah, I guess you just, I don't know if you say this if you're the coach, it's kind of intriguing, but you tell them, oh, well, Krzyzewski wasn't coaching and Duke was missing Emil Jefferson. Yeah. So you guys, actually, the win wasn't very good. I mean, you don't tell your team that, so it's hard. But I mean, if you did, then maybe they would avoid a letdown. For me, I expect the number to be 6.5. That's just, a straight numbers play. But you look at, Florida State just upset Duke, even though they were the favorites, right? But I think people would say it was an upset if they didn't know the spread. And I actually bet Florida State last night. I thought it was a bad spot for Duke. But this could be a bad spot for Florida State. My only thought is when you actually look at teams, if you look at any North Carolina game, this is just for everybody, if you're going to handicap a North Carolina game going forward for the rest of the year, realize that their advantage, they're the #1 team in offensive rebounding percentage. It's like they get rebounds on like 42 or 43% of their missed shots, which is an absurd amount. And teams like Clemson, North Carolina State, who they've played recently and done pretty well, I mean, they've out-rebounded them each by 15 to 20 every game. And that's because those teams are outside the top 250, I think both of them. And Clemson's almost, I think they're outside the top 300 in defensive rebounding percentage. And so look at the game tonight at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, they're like 108th in the country in defensive rebounding performance. And they're playing at home. And if North Carolina can handle the glass against them, Florida State, they're 208th. They give up, I think it's like 28.9% offensive rebound rate to their opponents. And now they're playing the team that does it the best. I just think the matchup's really bad whenever you have North Carolina against a team that can't rebound, and Florida State really can't defensively. And they've played a lot of teams this year that aren't very good on the offensive glass. So if you actually adjusted for that, I think they're even worse. So that's my one look. If they can do it at Wake Forest tonight when they go home, Florida State off the look against Duke, and they're not a team that's going to rebound, I like North Carolina. I want the number to hopefully be 6 or better, depending on the spot and ultimately what I want to do the day of. I think I'll end up being on the Tar Heels.
Yeah, Ralph, I have a thing that I like to call when a team has a statement game or a legitimizer. And to me, Florida State last night, even though they've been playing so good all year, they had to show it against one of the big boys. And doing it against Duke last night legitimized them that they are for real. And when you finally get that satisfying statement game, I like to look to fade that team in the next game because you do, use my saying, they start to feel a little fat and sassy. We have arrived. Look out, boys. We're here. And after going from Duke to North Carolina, it doesn't get any easier. What do you think?
I think they legitimized themselves on New Year's Eve when they went to Virginia and pulled out a win 60 to 58. That impressed the heck out of me. Florida State may have the best backcourt in college basketball. 6'7" Dwayne Bacon at one guard, XRM Xavier Wraithen-May is at the other guard, 6'4". I mean, those guys can line up with anyone, and that's their power. Now, Duke had to start 3 guards, 3 small guards, and that was their matchup advantage against Florida State. I'm going to lean with North Carolina. The reason is this. Florida State has only played 1 true road game. That was the Virginia game we talked about. That was on New Year's Eve. That was a game the student section wasn't there. The student sections are now back, and it'll be a big deal starting this week. We'll see that home court edge start to climb up back for these teams. North Carolina, meanwhile, losses to Georgia Tech, a 3-point overtime win against Clemson, and then Wake Forest were all on the road. At home, beat Northern Iowa by 43, beat Monmouth by 28, beat NC State by 51, 2 6'10" forwards in Meeks and Bradley that are huge. Kenny Williams is a 6'4" guard that gives them some depth. I like North Carolina. I made the line 7.5, so I'll play them to 8 or 9 and still play them in the spot. So I'm sure I'll definitely be leaning North Carolina here.
Yeah, I agree. I lean to North Carolina, just a bad spot. This is one of those ones where they could play this 10 times, and Florida State might cover 7 of the 10. But for this one, because of the situation surrounding scheduling, coming off the big game. I just don't like the spot for them. And I think we're going to get a little bit of a benefit of the line because Florida State right now, the stock cannot be any higher on them than it is right now. I lean to North Carolina as well. So we'll see what happens on Saturday with that one, where that number comes out. Hopefully, Florida State gets too much love and we'll be able to go in and get a good number. Hey guys, if you want to get $50 for free at WagerTalk, well, if you're new to WagerTalk, after your first purchase of $12 or more, just email support and put your username in the email, and we're going to put $50 in your account. You can use that $50 however you like. It's our way of saying thank you for joining the WagerTalk team. Just check it out after your first $12 purchase, email support. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.